Whoever you follow, it'll be another wondrous journey.
Everyone's on the start line now.
So let's get this thing on. Oh!
Shot. How good is that?
Bang, what a hit.
From another planet.
That's out of this world.
I still can't believe what I was watching.
Oh, how did they score from that?
No.
Brad Fittler going up the middle. New South Wales are going in.
It's the greatest weapon in the game, speed.
What has happened there?
Good stuff, Guppo. Some of your finest.
Yes, hello and welcome to another week of Freddy and the Eighth. I'm Emma Lauren, stepping in for the great Matty Thompson. Gents, how are we feeling today? Pumped for another week of footy?
The great Matt Thompson, that's questionable.
Wow.
The great Matt Thompson.
Very optimistic.
No. Yeah. Well, we miss
very
him.
Nice.
We miss him. He'll be back next week, but it's great to be here with you guys. Plenty to get through for this show. We're going to take a look at the 1995 World Cup. We're going to dig deep into the archives. We're going to look at a big week of floggings in the NRL and see what that means for the competition. A new star number 7 at Newcastle, which, Joey, I know you're incredibly excited about. And we'll take a look at all of the big games here on Channel 9 this week. So lots to get through, but we'll start with the photo archive, and we've done a bit of digging. Joey, do you remember this gentleman?
Yeah, Peter Hall.
Serial pest.
Serial pest. I used to see him all the time. I used to see him sometimes when I'd be walking home from town through Derby Street, and he'd have his guitar and his cat, Afghanistan.
How was he allowed? How was that allowed?
He had that hat on. I don't know. He's just, you know what? He ran up. That's it. Kindred spirits find each other. Benji, give you a high five.
You get arrested for that these days, don't you?
Oh, that's right.
But like
Big
honestly,
fine. It's about $5,000
honestly,
fine.
you look at that. He could have had a gun in there.
What's he like? Like, did you speak to him, or is he just...
No, he's all right. He's a bit scattered.
Yeah.
But if you're watching Pete, I miss you, mate. I haven't seen you for a while.
Didn't he give you a CAT scan?
He came out one time and he goes, stand still. And he had all these kittens. He's going, I'll give you a CAT scan. And his cat's there, Afghanistan. And he wrote a song about me involving a...
Can we go there?
I can't say no.
We can't go there.
No, the kids might watch this one.
All right. Well,
I'll tell you in the break.
Okay. Can't wait. In 2013, there was a streaker as well. Do we remember this one? This is one of the classics.
Yeah.
Look at him.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't put up much of a fight.
What happened? Did they award the try? Or did they pull it back?
They pulled it back, I'm pretty sure.
There we go.
At least he's naked. If you're going to streak...
I don't understand. I mean, we shouldn't really encourage it anyway. But
No. But if you're going to run on and streak,
you make the effort of taking your gear off.
You've got to take your gear off.
You can't do a fully clothed streak.
Oh,
It's
Jimmy.
not a streak.
There we go. I believe they're called pitch invaders these days, aren't they?
Oh, there you go.
There we go. Anyway, you'll notice some extra
Excuse me.
decorations this week. That is because you gave a nice shout out. You love the chocolate bullets, Freddie.
The bullets. These babies right here.
So our good friends at Darryl Lee
These ones here, if you want
have
to
sent some in.
give yourself a treat, buy a pack of them.
You know what I do with them? I put them in the freezer.
The bullets.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say something else.
So is that all for you?
What's that? I hope so. No, they're beautiful.
Put them in the freezer.
There we go.
I do like my chocolate and that in the fridge. I
You know what else
about the
Darryl Lee
freezer.
do? They do the fruit tingles. In the big ones, yeah. I have them in the glove box. But you can't stop at one.
Tell-
Oh, piggy. Nose in the snout. Was it?
Speaking of food, I'm not sure if you caught this during the week, but this was overseas, I think in the States. One of the sporting codes, we've got that gentleman's about to have his beer. That's a hot dog. He's put a little hole in the middle of the hot dog and he's going to use that
stop
as a makeshift straw.
Oh, my God.
So
What a head case.
looks like it's... So he's put the hole down the middle.
Honestly, that looks like...
I mean, he's got a regular straw right there, so
Imagine if
that would
that
have been
kid turns around and
sufficient.
sees that. That'd scare you for life.
There we
Oh,
go.
my God.
It evidently worked, and any excuse to bring up Gus with a hot dog, obviously.
He
One of the
devoured
great
that
moments.
day.
Watch your fingers.
There we go.
He's sending someone to
loves
get him
it.
another one. Oh,
He would have hated
How
the
long
fact
since you've
that
had a
this
hot
gets...
dog? Just have a hot dog at lunch.
been a while.
So we thought maybe we'd give you guys a go. This is non-alcoholic beer, by the way.
You put in there.
So no, you're working a little bit later. They are cooked sausages, just so you know.
Looking down the shaft. I can't, I can't put that.
Remember that time at DCM's?
Are you getting any beer?
No.
Freddie, do it. Come on.
You got to mouth it.
I think there's probably a
You
technique.
can't sip it. You got to.
Mate, those rumours are true about it.
That's filthy.
Anything come up?
Oh,
I could go
There we
somewhere.
go. You rate it or you don't rate it?
we're going to get off the subject. Next topic.
All right, next topic, we're going to get straight into the Fast Five. And first off, it is
Mate,
Jaxson Paulo. We know it was a tough week for him last week, but how do you bounce back from a performance he probably wasn't super
Yeah,
happy with?
poor bugger. You just had one of those. And everyone has those sort of nights. You just got to go back and train hard, focus on the little things, and what's your job? Catch the ball, chase kicks, run hard,
Yeah.
dummy half. Just do the simple things.
A lot of cold drops. So whether he was nervous or whatever it was, or an off night.
But the one with the troll through, it was a rocket.
That was a
Went
tough
up there.
pass.
That was a tough one.
The one that cost him was the one where they kicked down late.
Late in the game, yeah.
Yeah. Sean Sullivan put the kick in, he just fumbled it. But by the end of the game, he'd already made 4 errors. They actually had Tane Milne on the bench. He made a couple of errors early, so I thought it could have been an opportunity for the coach to
I just can't have those things looking at.
take him off earlier. Yeah. Oh, he's just looking.
The hot dog's staring you in the eye, Freddie.
And, I think Jason Demetrio could look back and go, well, maybe whether he had another plan for Tane Milne. I know he went on, but I don't know who he went on for, I forget. But
So you look back at Wynn. Remember a couple of months ago when he brought Lachlan Ilias off?
yeah.
And we were sort of, whoa.
Yeah.
You look back now and think, well, whether that was the right decision. I don't think it was.
Mate, it was like his form since. Like he played the week after.
But I'm saying,
Yeah.
I wonder if Jason looks back now with Jaxson Paulo.
It's hard as a coach because on it, like,
Wingers, it's hard to replace a winger, wouldn't it?
well, they had Tane Milne there.
Oh, okay.
He was on the bench. So you got a ready-made player there.
Could have.
Yeah, and he made some errors early, and I think, 1 or 2 of them were near the line, or could have been tries.
He'll bounce back.
Yeah, for sure. He's a good player, and he's young. So first thing you do, get off his phone for a while.
Yeah.
That's going a bit overboard, but outside that, do that, train hard, and he'll be sweet. He's a good player.
We're at the pointy end of the season, and many of the clubs are getting ready for their end-of-season trips. So I want to ask you, what was the best trip you went on, and who was the best organiser of end-of-season trips?
Hawaii was always good.
Actually, Trent Robinson.
Robbo.
Trent Robbo organised our trip to Cancun. And that was a good trip.
You
Loose?
You got arrested, didn't you?
Yeah, first night. Got thrown in jail.
Did you have to pay your way out?
Well, that's why they threw me in jail. I did nothing wrong. I went outside and the bloke at the bar must have seen I had cash in my wallet. So when I went to walk out, they just grabbed me. And I sort of went like that. And then they went to grab me again and said, "You'll come with us, you're in a fight." I went, "No, I wasn't." So I bolted and they caught me. What an athlete. I hurdled a hedge, they grabbed me and then just threw me into a jail underground. Was that scary?
On your own in the jail?
Yeah. There was one bloke in the corner. And they took me money and they took a nice watch on. They flogged the watch, flogged the money, and then let me out.
You never got the watch back.
Never got the watch. When I sort of went to look into the insurance side of it, and they said, "You've got to go to the police and get a statement." They're the ones who flogged it. So, yeah, lost my watch,
Dodgy.
lost about 600 American. I don't know why I had that much money on me.
How much does it cost to bail you out?
Well, I had a tag watch and the cash. And they just sat me in there for a while and then just kicked me out. And I said, "Where's me stuff?" And they said, "What stuff?"
Jeez.
It's a good point.
Darwin
Good words.
was always a good holiday spot because there's no rules. You can have fun.
What'd you get up to there?
A lot. Yeah, a lot.
Just been a grog monster.
Oh, yeah, heavy.
Anything PG?
No.
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 You go and do any touristy things? Any crocodile farms?
Yeah, the jumping crocodiles or something, isn't
Yeah,
it?
right. I haven't been.
Yeah. Good spot.
Hawaii was always a good trip.
Hawaii was good.
They used to have a bar there called Davy Jones Locker, and it had you'd sit at the bar and then you could see the people swimming in the pool. So you can imagine what.
Jamie Ford, remember, Forbesy from Cessna, tripod. He actually swam there one day. The Americans were like, oh my God, look at that.
All right, up next, how good is the new SFS looking? We've got the
Unreal.
first game ever, Bunnies and Roosters there in the final round. Did you do the tour?
I've done the tour.
What do you think?
Did you go through it?
I was not there.
It's fantastic. Well, the first thing is everyone's covered. Obviously, wind can take the rain into the crowd, but generally everyone is covered. The field is fantastic. The facilities underneath are fantastic. The dressing rooms are fantastic. It's accessibility. That was a bit of a nightmare for a major ground to get in and out as a player. You'd have to walk up through the people all the time, but it's obviously been upgraded and brought into the 21st century. You go underground and everything about it is going to be, A-class.
And new number 7 in Newcastle, Jesse Southwell. An
Is he
absolute gun.
Gun.
How'd you go on the weekend?
Killed it. Best player on the field.
We've got some vision. So this was you back in the day.
I thought that was her. I thought that poor thing.
And she, dead set.
Oh,
It's the exact same step.
Oh, wow.
Right foot step.
wow.
Did you teach her that?
Actually had a kick with her yesterday. I was up in Newcastle and we had a kick. And it's an area of the game, the women's game, where there is a lot of improvement to be made.
She come through soccer, didn't she?
Well, I asked her that.
Yeah.
She was nailing 40-20s.
Yeah, right.
But then a touch, the far post grubbers and torpies, she was hitting a few torpies.
So she come through soccer?
Bit of soccer. She went to the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah.
Played rugby sevens. They won a gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, just did that, yep.
Into it. Just wants to improve. Where she gets in the game,
So will she go back to rugby for the Olympics?
maybe. Because they can...
You'll
they
lose
can-
her.
No, they can chop and change.
Yeah, they can do it,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But you got no idea how good
But
she
as the comp begins to expand, because we've only had a short competition, this is the most teams we've had, but as we get to 10 teams next year,
But I spoke
change
to Bedsy after Danny Madeira's over. I said, mate, you got to promote her.
Yeah.
She's got to be in billboards around town.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
she
the key
is
is
unbelievable.
for the game to sustain itself. Obviously, with the popularity will come sponsors, and then the girls will get better wages. I think at the moment they're fighting for pregnancy. When they're pregnant, to be able to get paid still. So, they're the basic things that we should have. So, I think it's very popular and it's good to watch. I'll sit there and I'll watch. Yeah, it's good. It's a good game to watch.
it's improved a lot. The thing with Jessie, she's only 17 years old.
17.
So she had to get an exemption to be able to play. It's incredible.
Yeah, during the off-season, did some work with the younger halves, young guys, and she came along and she was the best out of the lot. But, explaining drills to teenage boys, their attention goes off, they look at her. She was just... Her appetite...
They're like that, aren't they? All the girls, when you train them,
Her
like the
appetite
women.
to improve, I've got to say, it blew me away. She's one to follow.
Well, she certainly got your right foot step, and Gus was asked about your famous step on his podcast.
He used to love that. He used to get them to throw the ball out and he'd fade onto the ball and then he'd sharp right foot step on some slow front rower who you'd been telling all week to look out for that, but he just forgot.
He's a front rower.
Andrew Johnson go over and score again.
It would cause Gus a lot of pain back in the day.
I know what Gus was
A
doing.
lot of
on his
late
phone.
night phone calls to Gus. We used to have a thing that, I've told that, isn't it? Gus Bingo. We'd be coming home on the piss with my mates and they'd go, ring him. They go, right up, Gus Bingo, put your money in. They'd all put 50 in. They go, right up, ring. I go, 2 rings. They go, no, you won't pick up. 3:30 in the morning. Hello, mate, how are you?
You'd always pick up.
Always pick up after 1 ring. He doesn't sleep.
Reliable Gus.
Gus Bingo.
Did he ever come and get you out of trouble?
No, I live in
Got me out of
Newcastle.
trouble a few times.
You got him out of trouble.
Good on you, Gus.
He's a good man, Gussie.
All right, bottom 8. Who has disappointed you the most from those teams in the bottom 8?
The most. Well, I'd say Manly are close. Although they had a pretty good lineup. I know they obviously when Tom goes down, but you know what? I thought Newcastle were going to be good. I really thought they were going to have a good year this year when I look through their team.
For me, Newcastle, because I'm invested in it. But Manly, yeah, they lost Turbo. I got to say, when they were around the 8, without Turbo, I thought if they make the 8, it's a pretty good year.
They had a couple of weeks there where they were flying. It just fizzled out pretty quick.
And given they were in the prelim last year, it's...
How much you put down to the Jersey weekend?
I think it started to fizzle before. I'm trying to think. They might have just got beat. Well, the Roosters was the Jersey week. Since then, they've been terrible. I'm trying to think who they were before that, or they might have had a good win. Yeah, I put a lot down to that.
Because the Jersey night, they aimed up against the Chooks.
Yeah. And without all the players. Well, they had about a couple on debut.
With all the blowouts, there's been a lot of chat about a possible draft, and would that work? What are your initial thoughts? When you first hear a draft, do you think it would work?
I don't understand the ins and outs of it. I understand that, you know, players go into a pool, teams that come last get their first pick, and then it sort of goes down.
Basically, that's it.
That's about it.
That's it.
But the thing is, like, what do we call them? Developing clubs? Where
Like a Penrith, that actually spend time from when they're 12, they put effort into them, and then they go and lose them all and think, why on earth would we do that?
So you imagine they identify, say, let's go Nathan Cleary, for instance. Identify him at 12, 13, 4 or 5 years, how much work they put into him, coaching him, put him through school, you know, mentoring him, all this sort of stuff, treating his body. And he gets to 17 where they get to cash their chips in and someone comes and just goes, there. Where's the compensation for that? I think it should even happen now. Where's the compensation for the 4 or 5 years they put into Nathan or into a player like that?
It's hard.
It's hard because
there'd have to be some kind of...
You know, and then you got, you know, Newcastle, they have a lot of kids come through there. Obviously, Wollongong have a lot of kids come through there. But then
Parramatta.
You look at the Roosters, you look at the Tigers, you look at Canterbury. These are all competitions that...
I would say the Tigers are a development club.
No, I'm just saying these are clubs that don't have big leagues. You know,
the Tigers would, wouldn't they?
Oh, they have good leagues and good clubs, but they don't have, you know, Penrith have 4 divisions.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you start getting down to 9s and 10s and that, they've got like, you know, endless. So, and then all of a sudden, you know, if you start saying, you know, then all of a sudden you're benefiting those sort of areas.
So the draft got... Did Terry Hill fight it?
Terry Hill.
Terry Hill was going... he wanted to go to West and he went to the Roosters or something.
Yeah, took the Roosters.
It's big overseas and you get to, I guess, know some of the players coming through before they make their debut and you get to find a bit...
In the NFL, they're college. Do they come from college?
Yeah, so they have a college system which stands on its own. So you make yourself famous in the college system. So and each college club isn't aligned to the NFL team that's in that state. That has nothing to do with it.
He's got nothing going for him, has he? He's had to sign a $20 million contract.
So they almost become famous before they even...
But see, rugby league's tribal. Yeah. And people like to see their local boys come through and they watch them come through and from 14, 15, 17, 18, and then, you know, hopefully they play their whole career there. I just think rugby league's too tribal.
So it's a no?
No.
Freddie, it's a no from you?
You know what, I don't think it's that far off at the moment. I think with the salary cap, the way it works, it makes it really hard for clubs who win to keep their players. You look at what's happening at Penrith at the moment, look what's happened to Melbourne over time. They've also brought in a cap now for the running of the club.
How much they spend.
How much they spend on coaches and staff. So, you know, I can see that how it works, but I don't think it's fair because you limit how good we can take our game to. We sort of, you know, instead of trying to take that higher, we're trying to bring, you know, I just don't think we seem to, you know, try to grow our excellence and be great at, we just keep trying to help those that struggle.
It's a big few weeks of footy ahead. So we've got you covered on 9 and on 9 Now.
Footy does not get any better than this.
The Frankfurts are just still hanging around.
Mine aren't looking. They're not looking happy either.
All right, the team's coming off the thumpings on the weekend, the Broncos. Can you see them slipping out of the 8?
Yeah.
Well, they could. The Raiders could.
Well, it depends on tonight's game. I think.
Tonight. It's all about tonight.
Yeah.
Look at the Dragons. If they lose tonight, they go down the Dragons. But they get Carrigan back.
Carrigan's a big one.
I feel like
Next week.
Yeah, he comes back next week.
Next week, yeah. But then the Dragons have got that hook, Anthony Griffin, old coach, Ben Hunt,
Yeah.
McCulloch,
Yeah, that's not an easy win. That's a tough win.
Maguire, all those old Broncos, they'll lift.
How do you, if you're the Broncos, you've just been pumped, how do you bounce back from
You
a
just
loss like
do.
that?
Well, it's between the ears, really.
Yeah, it's all between the ears. You just do. They're not as physical as they were. One of the big things that changed, I found a lot of their errors. They got rid of their unforced errors, basically. But they were aggressive. You still got Flegler, Payne Haas, Capewell, Ricky. You got big mobile forward pack who were just very aggressive and running through teams. So they need to get back to that.
He killed them, Harry. He was a 9.5 out of 10, Harry Grant. They look like they're coming to the end, the Broncos. A lot of their young players have played Origin this year. I see they've rested Selwyn Cobbo. He needs a rest. A lot of their players have had big years.
I think
The coach is new to this too.
Yeah.
The coach hasn't been here before. He's first. So it'll be interesting there. I think he's got some experienced assistant coaches, which might help. But yeah, it's hard to turn sometimes.
What about the Tigers? 72-6, I think it was, against the Roosters. Do you think they've checked out? How tough is it? Last few weeks.
Whatever you want to call it, I don't think no one goes out there checked out. But what happens is training's not as fun, and when the pressure's on, you just forget what it takes to win. Your effort off the ball, and when the ball goes away, you're thinking instead of moving. It's so hard to put your finger on the difference, but whatever it is, they're not doing it.
We've just seen 4 or 5 tries where a player hardly gets a hand laid on him. There's a couple, Nat Butcher scored 4, Angus Crichton got a couple. No one got a hand on him.
So they let Nofaluma go to the Storm. Does that signal that they have given up?
No.
Or for the players, does they think, well, if you're happy to let one of...
When people say give up, and I've played in a team where we got smashed, and you know what? We sort of gave up. And when you say give up, it's those 50-50 balls. When you're on the ground, you've got to dive at someone's legs or knees. And you just go, oh, you're getting beat by 50. And then your standards during the week, if you're really, careful about what you eat, and then you're like, oh, we can't make the sandwich. You know what? I'm just going to have a pizza tonight. You know what? We're going to have that tub of ice cream. You know what? It's Friday night. My mates are down the pub. I'll go down there for 6 beers. That sort of stuff happens. And then each player drops their standards by 5 or 10%. Just reflects when you get beat by 70. I don't know how they turn it around.
Yeah, and spirals.
I don't think the players is a financially smart thing because it allows you get more money because you're not paying off Faluma and hopefully it goes back into the cap. But I don't like the idea of them. I don't like the idea. It just puts a little bit of, just muddies the water straight away already. There's a few of these players, Gildart, they went to the Roosters, and obviously Nofaluma.
Well, Noffa then too has...
And they're both saying, we'd love to
I'd
stay.
love to stay.
Well, now they've got to go back to the club. This was always going to happen. So, the club's in a position now, when they come back in, they go, well, you want to go to another club. So do you let them go?
I hope they let Nofaluma stay down there.
What, forever?
Well, he was in reserve grade, wasn't he?
Yeah, he wasn't there,
But that's his own fault, obviously.
A change has probably done him the world of good. It could work out a win-win for both. He's on about 550 something a year.
Well, the idea is for him to come back and with his experience and be a leader. 2 years ago he was talking about getting on our bus and, he was chanting Tigers. All of a sudden, it's got too hard for him. He should be taking their training principles and bringing them back and go, well, this is what we should accept and what we shouldn't accept. So, it's a good time for him to come back and be a leader.
Yeah. Let's talk
Get
about...
on the bus, Noffa.
Get on the bus.
What does that mean?
Well, he said during that it was about the time when people were saying either get off the bus or get on the bus. And he was on the bus. He now wants to get off the bus.
Maybe.
Well, he said it.
Yeah.
Get on the bus.
Ben Hunt, apparently, according to Danny Weidler, is hesitant to... The Dragons have apparently offered him $750 to stay. He's balking at that. What do you think he's worth?
Well, if I was going to sign Ben Hunt now, I think he's upwards of $900, $1 million, because there's no halves around. He'll get the Dally M this year. He has carried that club, and I think he's still got really three really good years in him. So I think he's upwards of $900, $1 million. Well, you see what some other halves are getting.
Well, I think they've been to the semis once in, I think he's been there 5 years?
Yep.
Once in 5 years. I don't think you can demand $900, $1 million. I think if anything, you've got to give back to the club a bit. I think $750, $800, I think it's fair. They've been to the semis once. So he's had a brilliant season. You know, all through Origin and Dragon, so you can't deny that. But for the 5 years, and a lot of confidence was put onto him, and, you know...
But I think it's the players around him, not him.
Well, mate, at some stage, if you know what it's like, if you're taking the money, you've got to... You know, you've got to take the responsibility as well as leading the club into, you know, semis and getting the club better. It's not just because you look good or you got good flair. So I think it's fair. And plus, with that money, with the other money, if you're not demanding 1.3 or whatever, then that means you can get other good players around you.
So he loves Hook, and he talks openly about his relationship with Hook all the time.
If Hook goes, he's going to go.
Well, apparently, he wants a clause in there that ties him to Hook. So do you think we should be allowed to do that, or does that just open up a can of worms?
No, shouldn't be allowed to do it. No, not a chance. You know, the player, your captain or your player, doesn't decide who's the coach. But I can understand his loyalty. A lot of those players came through a Brisbane system when they won the under-20s. I think it was Ben Hunt, McCulloch, Josh Maguire,
Molo,
Gerald Yo-Yo.
Yeah, it was.
They all came through in that 20s, and Hook coached them. So obviously they got that relationship, but you cannot be dictating the club that if the coach goes, you go.
If you were Ben Hunt and you were choosing between staying at the Dragons, going to the Tigers,
Newcastle.
the Dogs, Newcastle, you'd love to have him up there. If you were Ben Hunt, where would you go?
Well, what's Ben Hunt, 31, 32?
Mate, I think 5 years he's had there. Obviously, his wife's found good friends down there. His kids, I'm sure, have enjoyed the school. It's a great place to live.
He's been at Dragons longer than 5 years, hasn't he?
I'm pretty sure it was a 5-year contract, wasn't it?
I think so. He's 32 as well.
I thought he's been.
Yeah, 2016, 15 was the grand final. Did he leave the next year?
Don't know.
Anyway, but I can't... If he's living in Wollongong, which I'm assuming he is, I've got no idea, actually. So you'd think that he's set up a little bit.
Or does he want to go back to Brisbane, Queensland? He's a Brisbane boy, isn't he? No, he's from out west, isn't he?
No, he's from...
I know he played at Brisbane. I thought he was from out west.
I don't know.
Somewhere.
But they couldn't really fit him back in.
Maybe the Dolphin. No,
I'd like to see him stay. I'd like to see him stay with Hook. And I think he can do really good things with some of those kids coming through. I think he's got a really good halfback underneath him, Jaden Sullivan, who could learn off him, do a very similar role to what he did, play a hooker, halfback type of role. And, you know, they could come through and he could bring the club through, and I think that'd be very satisfying for him. Going for extra money somewhere else, I'm not sure would bring the same satisfaction.
Right, we'll get stuck into some memories from the 1995 World Cup, which you were both involved in, but it didn't all start out on a good note. Losing to England, this is what the reaction was like back home.
Deep in the Australian scrum, Newcastle halfback Andrew Johns was cramming for his first test at hooker.
Yeah, the way the game is at the moment, there's not much difference between a halfback and hooker, but I have to pack in them scrums against them fair joins, so see how we go.
The inclusion of Johns is one of 4 changes to the run-on side which fell to England in the Cup opener. Wingers Brett Dallas and Robbie O'Davis get their chance to push for a semi-final start.
I'm not too sure if they're any good with steppers, so maybe I'll be able to go out and put a couple of steps in and get a couple of meat pies maybe, and we'll wait and see what happens.
Waiting for Australia in the semis is New Zealand. The Kiwis ensured they'd finish top of their pool, beating Papua New Guinea last night. New Zealand won 22 points to 6 after leading 16-2 at half-time.
Wow.
There we go. Wow.
You know who
Bring
never
back
played
memories.
enough footy? Henry Paul.
Yeah, what a gun.
Jeez, he was a good player. That was unreal that year.
How fat was my head?
I
And
didn't
how shapeless was the body?
I didn't recognise that voice at all, actually.
No. So you heard Lockie before his got his voice pumped?
No.
Someone showed me something the other day. Like he was like Kamal. Look at that head. Oh,
You haven't changed a lot.
Mate.
Still fairly similar. Well, at the end of the...
You look naughty there.
What's going...
That was one of the great tours.
That was fantastic. Bang.
Well, at the end of the 95 Origin series,
Yeah.
I believe Sterlo was asked about the form of you two gentlemen.
With the first test to be played against New Zealand in 2 weeks, Monday's game will decide a number of positions in the Aussie team. In my opinion, if the side was chosen today, there would only be 4 certainties. First chosen should be player of the series, second rower Gary Larson, whose non-stop efforts in both attack and defence have gone a long way in securing success for the Maroons. In a losing side, Blues skipper Brad Fittler has still proven a class act and almost single-handedly rescued his side at the MCG. Leading by example, when Fittler straightened the attack and took on the defence, New South Wales were at their most dangerous and almost snatched an improbable victory. In the key halfback position, the unassuming Adrian Lamb has been a revelation, with his intelligent distribution providing an ideal link between the forwards and backs. He definitely finished on top of the promising Andrew Johns, but the wild card that has now been introduced into the equation is Manly dynamo Jeff Tuvey. Injury aside, Tuvey's club form has been first class, and his uncanny ability to break the defensive line, combined with relentless defence, has been inspirational.
There we go.
What was that for? Was there a test that year?
Yeah, there would have been. There used to always be a mid-season test with New Zealand. Yeah.
After Origin.
Yeah. I don't think I played in that one. Obviously I didn't. Sterlo got me speared.
Were you in the
It was
grandstand,
because
the
of
one
Sterlo.
where you had a bet on me scoring first try? Or was that Matty in the
That
grandstand?
was me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might have been...
That was in Brisbane.
Might have been that year.
That was in Brisbane.
Yeah, but that might have been that year.
No, I just got out of hospital. I had my groins done.
Yeah, but that was that test they were talking
No,
about.
it wasn't that test.
No,
No,
right.
it was later, late 90s. Yeah, so Matty played, so me and my dad went up. Oh, my dad backed Freddy for his try score.
This is 30 years ago.
30 years ago, you had to do it. Freddie scored and he's running back, looking at the crowd.
Matty said, Joey's backed you for first try score. I'm looking for him in the crowd going, yes.
All right, when you get fast forward to the World Cup final, what are your memories?
It was the old Wembley. I can remember walking out when they're
I
singing
love the walk
Land
out.
of Hope and Glory. Isn't it? And I
Walking
thought,
out of the tunnel, there was this big raceway. You walk out and then do a big lap in front of all the crowd.
And see this goal here, I kicked this goal from the sideline. That's the opening 5 minutes. When the ground, there's a greyhound track. So when I went back to kick, I had to go down like about a foot. But this was this was so special to play at the old Wembley.
Go.
Yeah, that was fun. That was really fun at that time. Very young team that went away because of the Super League. A lot of the Super League stars weren't there.
This is the team.
Good team.
Freddie and Tubes. You're a
Jimmy
hooker.
Demick, Jason Smith, and Steve Menzies all in the back row. They were so classy. Nick Kosef as well. They're the best. They were possibly nearly the best back rowers, ball players, footballers. Or nearly the game seen, those blokes. Like the 4 of them, they had so much footy.
Where does that tour rate?
That was
Fun.
awesome.
It was so much fun.
There you are, Freddie. Now, is it true there was a rumour that you said to Prince Edward?
Yes.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, I know. It was that training. It was just,
trouble,
well, that's what we said to everyone.
He just
Thanks,
had
dude.
to.
No, the
Are you allowed to do that to a royal?
Prince Andrew.
He come down to
Edward?
train. He was
Well,
on our footy field.
He's in trouble, isn't he?
No, that's the other one, mate.
That's
Which?
No. There's Philip. Prince Philip was.
Oh, not
Yeah.
the mad.
Prince Andrew come 1994 and we met him. But anyway, yeah, it was all in. He come to train and we'll just all muck around and talking and
Was
chatting.
that blow up about?
No, it wasn't a blow up. Someone heard it and just said in the media. There was no blow up. It
on
was cool.
Wikipedia. Hey, dude.
All right. He was, yeah. I remember that. I think he enjoyed the company. I think he sort of, was interested. You can imagine they'd do a lot of painful things, I'd assume.
Oh, it'd be torturous.
That'd be a torture. It'd be an
That
awful
exists.
It would-
It's just small talk,
You
shaking
just
hands
live
with
to
people.
go around to different...
Yeah. But no, it was great.
What's some of the funny things that happened on that trip? The church was
The church, the night
one of
out
the great
afterwards
nights
was one of the great.
ever had in my life.
Well, I thought in the New Zealand game, the kick from the sideline and the field goal, like I'll just remember, I can still see the ball. Like it was that vivid. And I remember in the extra time, you and Beaver set up a try.
Oh, here it is. This is the game against New Zealand. This is one of the great Test matches. I think we're up.
We're up by 20. We're up by 24, I reckon, or 22 maybe. Because it got back to a draw. Oh, this is extra time.
That's
I remember that try.
The legs on Beaver.
And Beaver's ran 40 metres. Bang.
What's that? What's that
Get a
celebration?
cramp.
What was
I heard
that?
something. It wasn't a celebration. I heard something.
I thought
But
you were
those days,
celebrating.
when Bozo was the coach,
Yeah.
he was just great. Just get up. See that there? It's the football.
Yeah.
You can't win without it.
All right, let's get stuck into the games this weekend. Starting with tonight, we've got the Eels and the Broncos. Broncos need to bounce back from that thrashing. Do you give them any chance?
No, I think the Eels win. I think it'll be pretty tight. Like what the Eels have done the last couple of weeks, especially their halves, the way they've combined. I still don't write off the Eels. Just something about them.
You know what? Although they played a bit different last week, I think they've been under the pump now for a while. Everyone says Brad Arthur's, let's just, take the ball forward and a lot of set plays. But I thought last week was the most free-flowing I've seen Parramatta in a long time, where their tries were, just reacting to each other, and Dylan Brown has a lot to do with that. Even Mitchell looked like he was, just getting over the advantage line a bit more. So when they do that, they're a really capable team. So
Eels and Eels it is.
they might pick at the start of the year, the
You
Eels.
tip Broncos.
I tipped the Broncos for a different reason. I need to catch Middo
Okay.
in the tipping
Strategic
competition.
tip.
It's a strategic tip.
So if you were down to your last 50...
On the website, last 50, Para.
Yeah.
I think I like Para. I think
Para
they're
1 to
good.
12.
The game of the round is on Friday night. That is the Storm and the Roosters down there at Amy Park. Both coming off huge wins last week. It's a pretty tough one to pick.
It's a great game.
Lindsay Collins back, Siwa Takiaho.
Yeah. Well, do you remember the semi when Nelson did something to Siwa, pushed him, and Siwa hit him back? They both got sin bin.
Oh, yeah.
First play of the game.
And Siwa's generally pretty placid.
I go back to that moment, and Nelson at the moment is playing as good as I've seen him play. He's having as big an impact as I can see. And I reckon them two will come together. Football's got great memories about
it
stuff like
works.
that.
Oh, yeah.
So it'll be interesting how Siwa. I think Siwa plays a big role in this team, how he goes. 3 years ago, he was the best front row in the game, I reckon. Just his footwork, he was fit and strong, and he most likely hasn't got back to that level. So I think Siwa makes a big difference to their team.
This could be a golden point.
It's going to be a cracker of a night all round.
I
And
think
our
it'll be-
coverage will be a cracker as well.
I think it'll be game of the year.
Game of the year.
Yeah.
We've got a maybe interview of the year with Billy Slater and Shaq. He's doing his tour here, and the great Billy Slater has gone one-on-one with Shaq. Now, they're looking at something on the laptop there.
Does it involve a hot dog?
A few suggestions that...
No!
This was
No!
Oh, that's nasty.
2000 prelim?
No, still burns.
They might have been looking at that.
They might have been looking at Shaq in the shower or something. Stop, where's Murray? You know this hurts.
Geez, those shorts are high. Have a look at them babies. Oh, my God.
They are extra small shorts on.
Good on you,
Tight
Murray.
shorts.
Does it... Have you watched that back many times?
No, but I see it all the time here. Still burns. Thanks for putting that on, Murray.
It's a good day.
Anytime. All right, Saturday we've got the Rabbitohs and the Cowboys. Cowboys have no Tommy Dearden.
Yeah. When you hear an injury and you hear him say, they say it's ruptured, you just automatically go, oh, I want my mummy.
How long?
No.
How long's he out for? Have they said?
2 weeks.
Yeah.
All right.
So he'll be back for the semis.
Geez, they recover quick.
He'll be a big
What is
out,
it?
Dearden.
It would hurt. That's all I know.
Have you had...
No.
No?
Brett Kamali did. Remember that? Brett Kamali played a game.
The big one was Buck Shelford, the All Black legend. He came off and taped it up and went back out.
Tape?
Yeah. A lot of elastoplaster too, apparently. It shouldn't laugh. That'd be a bad injury. He's a tough boy, Tom Dean.
How can you tape? Isn't the rupture internal?
I don't know.
I got no idea.
If you're out there, Google Buck Shelford. It's just...
All right, we wrap it all up. Sunday, 4 p.m. or our coverage begins.
Did you tip South? I tip South.
I think South's will win, but I think I'm tipping Cowboys.
So Cowboys go South, then they play Penrith
final
up
round.
there.
Up there.
But I reckon Penrith
They will rest. Ivan kind of indicated yesterday that he would. He said, "Oh, we've got a plan. We're in a good position where we can
I'd rest everyone.
Yeah.
Like the travel alone.
And it'll be a 6-day turnaround then. So.
Yeah, travel alone. You just go. Sports science tells you that.
What about Jerome? Would you, given it's only his first game back, would you give him another week? Would you rest him?
Well, there must be a reason that he's bringing him back in. I think he needs to harden him.
Yeah.
I think teams were starting to target Jerome, and he's trying to harden him, get his head in there, get his defence up to scratch. That's going to be. That's where they're going to run at him in the semis. And you look at his run. They got. Look at the size of the back rowers now and what they're doing with them. Nelson's playing down the back row. Every team, Nat Butcher, Angus Crichton, you've got some weapons in back rows now. You need to be able to tackle. Your halves need to be able to stand up.
And we finish the round with the Titans and the Knights. That's our Sunday game coverage beginning from 3 p.m.
Knights were good last week, Joey.
Yeah, they were really good. Now, this is the last big win for the Knights. About 6 weeks ago, they put 20 or 30 on them. I think Tex Hoy had a real night. Edric scored 5 that night. You talk about characters.
I think Brimson could be too good on his own. He's a good player.
Yeah.
If they stop him and Tino, then they can win. But I don't know. Brimson, he plays that style where he just pops up. He's so fast. A lot of his tries, come off offloads, and all of a sudden he gets in, goes bang, takes off.
So moving forward for the Gold Coast next year, they get Sam Verrills at hooker, Jaden Campbell at fullback, Kieran play halfback, and then you got Brimson at 5'8".
Yeah.
Now there's a team that can win big games.
Back in the 8 next year?
No, but they can win more games than what they do this year. Kieran he'll do wonders for David Fafita. He'll get him into space and. Young halves, it's hard for young halves to tell big boys what to do sometimes, where Kieran will tell him.
Yeah.
You don't tell me how you get the ball, I tell you.
Right, well, it's a big week of footy ahead. We'll see you both on the Sunday Footy Show. Maybe a few more plugs for a few more free products, Freddie?
Well, I'll just keep plugging Darryl Lee.
I'll plug that Steel City. Well, I'll get them for free anyway.
Can I have some Steel City?
Yeah, you can have some.
Actually, I plugged Steel City a lot on our Mark Hughes walk, 150k walk. So I think I deserve some Steel City beers.
I'll get Hoyo to deliver some.
All right.
The big van, the big Steel City van.
And everyone else, go get some Steel City. Are we allowed to say that?
Yeah.
We've already said it.
Makes you dance better. A few other things.
All right. Thanks for your company. We'll see you next week. Yeah, thank you.
A bit better than the great Matt Thompson.
No, the great Matt Thompson. He'll be back next week. But enjoy the week of footy, and we'll see you all next week on Freddy and the 8th.